The moon of Zybrath 7, shrouded in perpetual twilight, was home to the most notorious alien race in the galaxy, the Crithers. Known for their insatiable thirst for amusement, the Crithers specialized in abducting creatures from distant worlds, using them as pawns in their gladiatorial games. It was never about survival, it was about the spectacle, the drama, and the screams of terror that delighted their twisted hearts. When a Crithers scouting vessel spotted a lone human, David Carter, hiking through the rugged mountains of Earth, they thought they'd hit the jackpot. To them, humans were a fragile, primitive species, unworthy of the galactic stage, but amusing enough for sport. David was mid-step on a rocky outcrop, his backpack snug against his shoulders, when a blinding light engulfed him. Before he could process what was happening, he felt weightless, then disoriented. When the light faded, he found himself in a metallic chamber, the air thick with a chemical tang. "Specimen acquired," a guttural voice announced from somewhere above. David blinked, his eyes adjusting to the dim glow of the room. Alien figures loomed before him, their elongated limbs and insectoid faces both horrifying and surreal. Their segmented armor glinted under the lights, and their mandibles clicked with what David could only assume was malicious glee. "Ah, a human," one of the Crithers chittered, its voice laced with mockery. "Weak, soft, perfect for tonight's entertainment." David's pulse quickened. "Where am I? What do you want?" he demanded, his voice steady, despite the fear clawing at his chest. The Crithers ignored him. One pressed a button on the wall, and a holographic display flickered to life, showcasing an arena filled with jagged obstacles and pits of bubbling acid. The crowd of alien spectators roared in anticipation. "Prepare the human for the trials," the leader commanded. David's mind raced. He had no idea what these trials entailed, but he knew he wasn't about to play their game. His survival instincts kicked in. These aliens might have been technologically advanced, but they'd underestimated him. He was a former Marine, trained to adapt, improvise, and overcome. The arena was a colossal structure, its walls lined with the jeering faces of thousands of Crithers. David stood at its center, stripped of his gear, but still wearing his rugged hiking clothes. Across the arena, a massive, four-legged beast was unleashed from a cage, its eyes glowing crimson and its claws scraping against the metal floor. "Begin," the announcer bellowed, and the crowd erupted in cheers. The beast charged, its movements fluid and terrifyingly fast. David dodged to the side, narrowly avoiding its swipe. Rolling to his feet, he scanned his surroundings. The arena wasn't just a battleground, it was a puzzle. Sharp spikes jutted from the ground at random intervals, and several metallic pillars hummed with electrical energy. "Let's see how you handle this," David muttered, his mind working at breakneck speed. He sprinted toward one of the pillars, the beast hot on his heels. As it lunged, David ducked and rolled, causing the creature to slam headfirst into the electrified column. Sparks flew, and the beast howled in pain, momentarily stunned. The crowd fell silent, their excitement turning to confusion. No creature had ever outsmarted the arena's challenges this quickly. David didn't wait for the beast to recover. He grabbed a shard of metal from the ground, likely debris from previous battles, and fashioned it into a makeshift spear. As the beast regained its senses, David charged, driving the spear into its vulnerable neck. The creature collapsed with a guttural roar, and the crowd's silence deepened. Back in the Crither control room, the leaders watched in stunned disbelief. This isn't possible," one muttered. The human was supposed to perish immediately. The leader's mandibles twitched in frustration. "Release the drones. Let's see how resilient he truly is." In the arena, the gates opened again, this time releasing a swarm of metallic drones armed with lasers. They hovered menacingly, surrounding David in a synchronized formation. David grimaced. Of course it couldn't be that easy. The drones fired in unison, but David was already moving. He dove behind a pile of debris, the lasers scorching the ground where he'd stood moments before. Grabbing a broken piece of machinery, he hurled it at the nearest drone, knocking it out of the air. Sparks erupted as it crashed to the ground. He noticed the pattern in their movements. The drone's coordination was precise but predictable, likely controlled by a central AI. If he could disrupt their signal. Spotting a control panel on the arena wall, David sprinted toward it, dodging laser fire. He ripped open the panel, exposing a tangle of wires and circuits. With no time for finesse, he yanked out several wires, causing the drones to glitch and spin erratically. One by one, they dropped to the ground, their lights dimming. David stood amidst the wreckage, his chest heaving. He glared up at the control room, where the Crither leaders watched with a mix of anger and unease. "This human is a threat," the leader growled. "We cannot allow him to leave this arena alive." But David had no intention of waiting for their next move. Using components salvaged from the destroyed drones, he crafted a rudimentary explosive device. He'd always been resourceful, and his military training had taught him to turn any situation to his advantage. Placing the device near the arena's main gate, he retreated to a safe distance and triggered the explosion. The gate shattered, the force sending shards of metal flying. Without hesitation, David sprinted through the opening, navigating the labyrinthine corridors of the Crithor facility. The alarms blared, and Crithor guards swarmed toward him. Armed with only his wits and the alien weapons he scavenged along the way, David fought his way through, leaving a trail of chaos in his wake. By the time he reached the hangar bay, the facility was in disarray. David commandeered a sleek Crithor shuttle, its controls surprisingly intuitive. As the ship's engines roared to life, he glanced back at the devastated facility, a grim smile tugging at his lips. "You messed with the wrong species," he muttered before launching into the void of space. The Galactic Council would later hear of the Crithor debacle, the tale of a lone human who turned the tables on his captors, spreading like wildfire. For the first time, the galaxy's most feared abductors were seen as fools, outwitted and humiliated by a primitive species. And for David Carter, the experience was a stark reminder of humanity's resilience and ingenuity. No matter how advanced the enemy, humans had a way of defying expectations and ensuring that those who underestimated them always lived to regret it.